Okay, in the previous step, we learned how we can instantiate an object in runtime in Unity. In this step, we want to learn how we can call a function with a delay, or how we can repeating calling a function in C# Unity. For example, we have a function which called void above test. Okay, and the responsibility of this function is just printing this message that I want to test. Okay, I can call this function and set order to run this function with this method amplify test and with this structure. Okay, let's save and go to the Unity and let's see what will happen. In the main camera, I'm adding part 18 and play the scene. Because I put that amplify test parentheses inside the void start, it's called my function one time. Okay, but exactly at the same time and without any latency. But what we're gonna do if we wanna have a delay? For example, let's say print this message or do any order after 10 seconds, not exactly when the void start works. For doing that, we can use this system Invoke. Okay, in the Invoke, and Invoke has two parts. First, the name of the function as a string. Okay, and the second is, okay, please give me the time. After how much time you wanna launch this function? For example, after 3 seconds. Excellent. Let's come back to the scene and play the scene. Look at this. It doesn't happen after 3 seconds. It called my function and we have this message on the console. Alright, it is really good because here we can define public float. It's supposed to be float. Float function start time equal 3. Okay, now we can decide when launch this function in the void start. Look at this, we have here. Let's make it 1.5 because it is a float. And look at this, 1.5 seconds, we have this message on the console. Alright, but what we're gonna do if we want to repeat this function. For example, for repeating this function, we have two solutions. First, let's make a void. Oh, sorry, void update and call this function here. Even with Invoke, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about the repeat. Okay, so let's remove this part. If I want to repeat here, it will be non-stop repeating without any latency or without any how can I say a smooth action. For example, look at this. It printing my message. Yes, of course, it is repeating my function, but look at the amount of repeating. For message, it is fine, but for example, if we use this function ABOFAS test for another responsibility, for example, load an information from data server, or load a 3D model, or instantiate an enemy soldier, or I don't know, reload the gun. Okay, repeating, for example, 4,396 times of this function, it may be problematic for our game, and maybe it is the cause of crashed application. So sorry man, I need to remove you. Void update is not it's not useful for us. Let's make repeat invoke repeating. Invoke repeating, it is the same with the simple invoke. Okay, but first let's add the ABOFAS test and the same method of function start time, but here it has another section which part okay, you called your function, I called your function 3 seconds later. Okay, it's fine. What about the repeating? How much time you wanna consider for delay for repeating this function after the first time? For example, we can set this parameter for the third parameter as well. It means the first time we will call ABOFAS test function after 3 seconds, okay? The second time or more, we will call this function exactly the same period after 3 seconds. So we will repeat calling this function all the time after 3 seconds. But here we have this ability to change the amount of repeating. For example, look at this. The first time we will call ABOFAS test after 3 seconds, but after the first time, in the second time or more, we will call this ABOFAS test function after 2.5 seconds. You can define any period of time for the third part. But let's make another variable here. Function repeating time. And we will call 1.5 seconds. Right? Let's come back to the Unity. And let's make it, for example, 0. For the start time, I put 0.25 seconds, less than half second. But for the repeating time, 1.5 seconds. Okay, my dear. The first time, look at this. The second time, third time, fourth time, they are slower than the first time. In fact, we are repeating our function with a specific delay. The good point of this method using the invoke repeating is we can change the period of time at runtime. For example, 0.1. Look at this. It is too fast there. Okay. We already made a loop for calling our function. Okay, it is better than void update, of course. And also another benefit of using invoke family, invoke and invoke repeating, is we can even cancel this loop at any time we want. For example, I will say void update if input dot get key down key keycode.s, it's for stop. Okay, I will say invoke and cancel invoke. Okay, in this function we can define my function names here. Even I can define for example another parameter, but what matters is the name of the function. So we will repeat this function, okay, and whenever we press S we will stop the function. So I will say here stop above test function. Bravo. Let's come back to the Unity's. Please, dear Unity editor. Now look at this. It's repeating the calling my function, and now I press S. Stop above test function. Look at this. It has stopped. Very beautiful. We can use this ability cancel invoke at any time we want. Even we can call this function again. For example, if I do something like B for begin, okay? The same function here, but with different numbers, 0.1 and also 0.23. Okay? At the second time when we press button B, we will repeat this function with these new parameters. A new start. Alright, let's go. Okay, we'll call it this function. Okay, it's repeating. Press S, it is stopped. Beautiful. And now press B. Look at this. It's repeating very fast because it used these parameters, these variables. Beautiful. Excellent. Let's go to the next step.